Hi, Brian Chen here with another episode of Selling Your Home video series. So, we're on to episode 3. If you haven't had a chance to look at episode 1 and 2, I recommend you take a moment and go through those because they're very important. Episode 1 is all about the overview of what you need to have happen to get your home sold. There's certain things that need to happen. Basically, win the competition online, get to the A-list or the short list, win the showings, the competition of showings, and of course, win the negotiations, appraisals, and inspections, okay, which gets you to the closing table. Sounds simple, sounds easy, but there's a lot to it, okay? And episode 2 was all about winning the competition online, which is very important because if you don't win the competition online and get to the buyer's shortlist to go see your property in person, you're not going to get the offer. Everyone knows you got to see the property in person, and no one's making offers until they've seen it in person. So that was episode number 2. Now, episode 3 is all about winning the competition of showings. That means after the client, the buyer, prospective buyer, comes to your home, and from the moment they see curb appeal through the walkthrough in the house, yes, there's a little bit of neighborhood, they do the walkthrough of the house, and they see the backyard and all the great features and benefits of your home. They get to the outside of the home, and the buyer looks at the buyer agent and says, "Wow, I really love this property. Let's make a written offer." Okay, so that's the goal of this particular video to help you understand how to get to that. Wow, this is a great property. Let's make an offer. Okay, so in order to facilitate this video, I put together a little checklist of things to do, the basics of getting your property ready to sell. And this isn't just the getting the ready property like an hour before you get to put it online, the listing online. It's really all about a month or 2 before. You really need to take a good look at your property and see what kind of repairs might be needed, or there's simple little things. I go to homes for showings, and the wall cover, the outlet, the AC outlet wall cover, the plate is broken and not even there. And I'm going, well, that kind of shows to the buyer not really well taking care of the house. You want to make that's like a 96-cent plate, little screw, you put it on, and voila, it's done. Okay, so lots of little things to look at. Maybe a little spruce up of the front, little fertilizer on the grass, get it nice and green, get the dead spots gone. Go ahead and put maybe some flowers, potted flower plants. All kinds of things can be done. Maybe a little touch-up paint here and there. That goes a long ways. It just makes your property look fine-tuned. Okay, so that's number 1. Go through the checklist a month or 2 before and make sure you got depersonalized. Gosh, there's so much stuff people leave on the walls and everything. Ideally, the perfect scenario is when you get all of your things out of the house and you have it professionally staged. And staging varies by price, number of rooms, square footage, but it's a professional decorator comes in and they bring in all this matching decor, and it looks really great. And it enables the buyer to kind of look at it and go, wow, that's kind of nice, and maybe my furniture, that would work well there, and really starts letting them take a look at it. When you've got all your personalized items and clutter, it makes it very difficult for buyers to envision what their things would look like in the home. So less is more, okay? So go ahead and go through the list, and I want to share with you, follow-up is important. That's up to your agent. But there's something I really believe in that's very important in this process, in that what is tracked is likely to be more successful. So in other words, your agent, and I'm sorry if you're reading this, watching this when you've already listed your home, but your agent should be tracking how many views are taking place on the MLS and on Zillow, because Zillow is a third-party provider, and their numbers are important too, because there's a lot of people shopping on Zillow too. Okay, Redfin, you can't really do it, but Zillow and MLS are important. Now, the bad thing is MLS, you can't go back over time. You have to be tracking from day one how many views there are so that way you can see the actual graph of how it is. And you're going to find in the beginning, in the first week, you're going to get like 70, 80, 100 looks, views they call them, on your MLS listing, okay? And then it's going to go down a little bit, and then it's going to really fall. And that's where it's important to understand where your views are. And then there should be a separate row or column that tracks how many showings you're doing. Because you'll see there's a correlation between how many views and how many showings you're getting. And that's important to look at, because at some certain point in time, you're going to need to start making some decisions. Are you priced correctly? Do you need to maybe look at buying some Google ads, which really isn't that expensive, but you can do that. Maybe you need to do an email campaign. Maybe you need to do what all these different marketing programs you can do. There's almost infinite things you can do to bring up the views on your online presence. Okay, so your realtor should be looking at this and talking to you and saying, hey, we should do this, and we'll probably see a jump in views. Okay, and I want to mention one thing about this. When you do a open house, it doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna find your buyer at the house when they come in to look at the open house. It's gonna be more of it'll bring it back up to the top of the showing list. Now, very important, when buyers are looking online, okay, they're gonna kind of know which properties they've looked at already, and they kind of discounted them. They took them out of okay, we'll go ahead and look at that, because you're gonna have usually one picture. Usually it's the front picture of the home, and they're gonna automatically see, oh yeah, I already saw that one, and they're just gonna go buy it. Okay, so you gotta think about how you're going to approach this. So maybe a little bit of different look, and that way you'll get a fresh look, and maybe prospective buyer might come by and see it in person. Okay, so anyway, that's very important. Tracking the amount of views online and tracking the number of showings, and you'll see the correlation. And if you start falling off, you're going to want to talk to your agent, and the agent should be tracking this for you. You should be getting a report every other day in the first 2 weeks, and then you should be getting a report at least once a week after that for a month. And then if it goes past that, you should be getting at least once a month, or once every 2 weeks going forward. Okay, and that way you can kind of track where things are going. Okay, that's about it for today on the episode 3 of Selling Your House, and then we're going to go on to episode 4, and there's probably going to be a 5 and 6, because we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about these inspections and about appraisals and things like that. Lots of things going on in the market and changes to this, how the transaction is being handled. Okay. Anyway, my name is Brian Chan. If you'd like to get a appraisal from me, a home appraisal, to see how much your home is worth, we can explain a little bit how that works and how loan companies work. Or if you want to see some of my marketing campaigns and what I do to help get your home sold, give me a call, give me a text, or send me an email. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for joining us. Stay tuned, because we're going to have episode 4 coming up soon. And until then, bye-bye.